Hey everybody, it's your boy Pee Wee back with another video. So today we're going to be talking about the Manhwa, the Unintentionally Ideal Adopted Daughter, or the I Played the Role of Adopted Daughter Too Well. Um, as- a quick synopsis of the story is our main character. One day, she's just going about her daily life until one day when she opens her eyes, she finds herself in the novel of her basically her favorite novel. It's called The Shadow of Velato. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Maybe I'm not. I apologize if I'm not saying it right. However, she wakes up in this novel, her favorite novel, as the main character of the novel, Viola. Basically, I'll zoom this out a little bit. She is an adopted daughter brought in by the head of the Velato household, which basically, to simplify it, the Velato household is essentially the rulers of the North, or basically they reside at the top of the empire, the northern part of the empire, fending the empire off from the monsters that come from the north. There are other families to like the east, west, and the south that pretty much do the same thing, but the uh, family of the North, the Velatos, they're seen as like bloodthirsty and emotionless, cold-blooded killers, mainly because our main character herself was born under a killing star. Let's see. Yeah, so in our main character's like adopted father basically recognized her talent as a monstrous killer, basically bringing her into the family to try and motivate the other successors of the family to either like start killing each other or basically trying to become the successor more often than not. I will say though she does have a kind of like a thing for like her favorite character of the novel is her adopted father, and like even like 109 chapters in, she's still like my bias is so handsome. Like she's still obsessed with him. Regardless though, our main character Viola. Basically a quick synopsis of the original novel is Viola here. She ends up becoming the head of the uh, a household after basically slaughtering all the other successors. She realizes that at the end of the story that although she gained the house, like the family home, and became the head of it, she lost everything else. She didn't have any siblings, anybody else to share it with, because she basically killed them all to become the successor. And so our main character basically has one goal, and the whole premise of this entire manhwa is basically make sure everyone gets a happy ending, and basically her dream of giving Viola like a happy family and a happy ending where nobody kills each other and so on and so forth. Like that's her main goal, and that's what she strives out to do. Now the entertainment value that comes with this story is essentially from her trying to act like Viola. Basically, she says she needs to always maintain the image of Viola Velato, but she also which is, by the way, if you're wondering, this is what a lot of the people see her as, or what the her adopted father saw her as. Um, and then this is how she usually like her self from her previous life is a more like gentle, loving type of person. So she's always basically trying to manage which mask to have on when, and which leads to a lot of misunderstandings. It leads to a lot of basically her trying to hide her emotions, where it's like 1 second, like on the outside, she looks like she's perfectly confident, perfectly, in touch with everything that's going on, but on the inside, she's literally trembling and just completely on the opposite what's on the inside and what's on the out. And that's basically where the entertainment value of the story comes from, is her doing stuff that makes her seem confident, makes her seem like she is the uh, manipulative, cunning, sly, character that Viola is. When deep down, she's basically just doing her best and everything she can to try and survive, not make any mistakes, and basically achieve her goal of a happy ending, because that's ultimately that's what she wants. She wants a happy ending for all the characters. She wants everybody to basically get along, and she says it in the second chapter that she wants them to like love her, like she wants the father to love her. She wants the siblings, to become a loving family, and not the cold-blooded killer family that they are seen as. Um, but that's essentially the synopsis of the story and what she tries to do. An example of, oh, I guess I should say this. So the family is divided basically in two factions, as like the kids, being the black faction, the other one being the white faction. The black faction is like the successors that are fighting against each other, and the white faction is basically the supporters. In the original novel, Viola was a black faction member. In this one, she becomes a white faction member. So basically, what she tries to do is the exact opposite of what the Viola in the original comic did. She doesn't want to kill anybody. She wants everybody to live. She doesn't want to cause bloodshed. She does everything she can to stop it. Usually, obviously, she has to maintain her facade as Viola, so she'll hurt people, hit them. Um, I can't remember off the top of my head. I just read this, so it's like it's still fresh in my memory, but I still just off the top of my head, I don't remember her as of chapter like 110. I think I got to her actually killing someone herself, but I know she's not above having people killed and stuff like that, to maintain her image as Viola. And so basically, it's just a comic of her trying to create a loving family and a loving environment, and not become the successor, but it's like the more she tries not to be the successor, the more worthy of being the successor everybody else starts to see her as. It's like a misunderstanding type of story, which is where most of its comedic value comes from. An example being, we have the her youngest older brother, Vichin. As I said, I'm sorry if I butchered these names, but essentially, he when they first meet, he's basically starts off by not liking her, wanting to kill her, and then at some point later in the story, he admits that he's not going to try to kill her anymore. He would rather just kill the people who oppose her, and basically he announces he's not going to be a successor, and he's going to support her as the successor, which, as I said, her goal is to not be the successor, but it's like the more she tries not to be, the more the other characters try and to like they support her and fall underneath her, pushing her to be closer to becoming the successor. So it relatively is just a fun, story to fun, entertaining. The characters are nice. The interaction of basically the cold, adopted father who slowly starts to melt for his, daughter that he's somehow, for whatever reason he doesn't understand, begins to like his heart begins to melt, and he starts, caring for the, his adopted daughter, which leads him to start to care for the other children as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to really say about this comic. I will say that overall it's pretty good. The only issue I do have with it was the time skips in this. There's been a couple. The first one was like 3 years. The second one was, I think, 2 years. But the time skips, I think, are done pretty badly. Like, I feel like it just messes up like the flow of the story. Like you're reading something and it's like, oh, this seems like something important is happening, and then it's like, oh, time skip 3 years. What? And you're just sitting there like, I thought that was going to be something important. Like, did I misinterpret that, or because they just don't talk about it again? And so, yeah, I will say that time skips are the only thing that I think is really holding this back from being like a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. I would give it about an 8 out of 10 simply because the time skips just completely mess up the flow, at least to me. Maybe it won't to you or anybody else who reads it, but to me personally, it does. But yeah, that'll be it for this video. If you guys like the review, I'd appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, left a comment. The reason I made this channel was to grow and basically just find and try to like create a community where we can just talk about the comics we love to read. Um, and just just talk about the comics that I read and my reviews of them in hopes of helping someone else find something that they haven't read yet, something that they were on the fence about reading, or just to talk to people about comics in general. But yeah, that'll be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.